Sukui Gar. Greetings, I am Tad Larkin, the lore master of Manda-LORE, and today I'll be digging through the archives to bring you technical readouts and the history of the Canderous assault tank. The Canderous assault tank was a heavy battle tank produced by Mandal Motors during and after the Galactic Civil War. Laden with heavy reinforced Durasteel armor, the Canderous assault tank was propelled by repulsor lift vanes, allowing the vehicle a top speed of a rather sluggish 50 kilometers per hour. As if the armor plates weren't enough, the Canderous assault tank was also shielded, strong enough to take a glancing hit from even the mighty Imperial AT-AT Walker. Typical armament for the Canderous assault tank consisted of 2 heavy mass driver cannons mounted on either side of the tank's rotating turret, as well as a concussion missile launcher, so the CAT was not only able to take a severe amount of damage, but could dish out a beating too. It takes 3 individuals to operate the Canderous assault tank: 1 driver, a gunner, and a tank commander. Pretty standard configuration. Canderous assault tank crews could store up to a standard galactic week's worth of consumables, and had enough storage space for 100 kilograms. In the tumultuous time of the early Galactic Civil War, the Canderous assault tank was conceived during a collaboration between Mandal Motors and its subsidiary company, Mandal Hypernautics, both starship and vehicle manufacturers based on the Outer Rim world of Manda-LORE, and the tank was named after the famous Mandalorian leader, Manda-LORE the Preserver, Canderous Ordo. During this time, Manda-LORE was under military occupation by the Galactic Empire, and a majority of its population was being used for slave labor. However, throughout this, Mandal Motors were allowed to continue designing and producing Mandalorian-made vehicles to put on the galactic weapons market. Now, the catch was, they were legally bound only to sell these vehicles to the Empire, which preferred to buy their military hardware from companies like Sinar Fleet Systems and Kuat Drive Yards that could mass-produce military vehicles faster and cheaper. As a result of this, a lot of Mandal Motors products, including the Canderous, were sitting in their lots, unused, though they got around this by making backroom deals with pirates and other criminal organizations. About a year after the Battle of Yavin, the Zon Consortium, led by Tiber Zahn, conducted raids in Mandalorian space, and even raided the orbital facilities above Mandalore itself. And after this skirmish, Mandal Hypernautics agreed to supply the Consortium with ships and vehicles under the Empire's nose. Zahn's bullying paid off, because as a result of this agreement, he also got his hands on Canderous assault tanks, which were extremely pricey even if they weren't restricted by the Galactic Empire. Other than its brief usage by the Zon Consortium, Canderous assault tanks were primarily used by the Mandalorian protectors following the liberation of Mandalore and the reconquest of Mandalore in 3 ABY. While we can assume that they were maybe utilized by the protectors during the Yuuzhan Vong War and the Second Galactic Civil War, we only have records of the Mandalorians fielding Canderous assault tanks on 2 occasions. In 44 ABY, the Mandalorian protectors under Mandalore Boba Fett were contracted by the Galactic Alliance Chief of State Natasi Dalla, and following strife with the Jedi, were ordered to lay siege to the new Jedi Temple on Coruscant. That same year, after the Jedi Temple siege was lifted, the Mandalorians received a contract to put down a slave revolt on Blaudu Sextus by the Sextuna Mining Corporation, secretly under Dalla's payroll, and Canderous assault tanks took part in that battle as well. It's a shame that such a capable battle tank like the Canderous saw so little use during its history, and perhaps under different socio-economic circumstances, it could have been one of the most sought-after pieces of military hardware, capable of turning the tide, whether it be a small planetary conflict or full interstellar war. This transmission was suggested by Eddie Rudolph and Agent Louisiana. If you have any suggestions for future transmissions, don't be afraid to drop a comment. In the meantime, keep your comm channels open for future transmissions, and don't forget to subscribe. Tad Larkin, out.